This is way longer than 10 seconds. This is way longer than a 10-second delay. I don't know what's going on there. But it's not my business. Session times. Neato. Alright, looks like a bunch of people are going to be there. Cool, cool. I see Durian the Sleepy. I see a whole bunch of other friends in the chat, concurrent viewers, people in here. Excellent, excellent. Very happy about all of this. I should... Audio output device. I should probably set this to... There's a good shot this is actually just gonna hurt like hell the moment I open it. Open it? No. What was I saying? The moment I set it correct. Did it not connect? I don't think it connected. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay, the issue I was having earlier decided to repeat itself, but I fixed it. The same way I fixed it last time. So luckily, hello Hufos, Jack Kingsbury will be available to talk in about 40 minutes. For now, I'll just hang. Yeah, that's fine, buddy. Yeah, alrighty. Now the fun can begin. This is gonna hurt. It's every time I touch these damn Bluetooth. Is this a stereo setting? Oh no, this sounds like crap. Ah ha ha ha. That's not the stereo. Here we go. Alright. Now I'm ready. Okay. Alright, somebody in the chat tell me how the audio is stacking up between my stuff and the between my microphone and the voice chat. Or not the voice chat, between my audio and the game itself. You guys actually hear me over the game? I think you can. It looks like everything's good. Yeah, this looks good. This sounds good to me. Alright, so... I guess... I was playing a couple of games to get myself warmed up here. Star Sandwich says, want to do a cyberpunk-esque game using one-to-one time, but I want to know if I should start the campaign with a Brownstein of patrons or a party of characters. Okay, that's a really good starting question. I like this. Something to chew on immediately. So, if I'm remembering the original, whatever the original Cyberpunk was, I don't think it wasn't Cyberpunk Red, if I recall. But Mike Pondsmith was writing GM advice, right? Referee advice inside the original Cyberpunk manuals. And this always, I have no idea if he was correct about this. I've never played Cyberpunk, right? I've never engaged really with that genre besides watching all but the last episode of the Netflix adaptation that came out. But, this quote of his... to my mind, is inescapable. He said something to the effect of, this is not the Dragon game. If your players engage in any sort of if they engage in any sort of hedging, right? If they ever hedge their bets, if they ever seek safety, if they ever try to secure for themselves a means around a problem, the world is going to attack them. The world is going to, not necessarily attack them in a literal sense. Whatever they attempt to do to get around a problem is going to, because of the genre, because of the mechanics they're trying to emulate, is always, we're going to observe Observe, that's why you shouldn't do that, what I just did right there. I'm the worst kind of person. Anyways, is always going to thwart them, or attempt to thwart them in some way. And the examples he gave was, if somebody manages to get a really high-end car, somebody's going to try to steal that car. If the players dump a cache of weapons somewhere in a storage locker, have someone steal those weapons. And that stuck with me because it was very clearly, like, that's not something I do in D&D, but it would be something I did in Cyberpunk, because apparently that's how the game is intended to be run, right? It's supposed to be that fast-paced. It's supposed to be that exciting, high-octane, constant pressure put on the players. And I'm gonna... This is circling back to your answer in a moment. Well, actually, no, what I should have done was just given you the short answer first, and then the long answer. My short answer is start with Patrons. The reason my long answer is, the reason my short answer is start with Patrons, is because it appears to better match that style of the game. If you create resources with which to pressure your players, which is to say, other people, involving other people in the game, who are going to constantly inconvenience or attack your players in some way, while also providing them with a lot of resources to solve problems on their own. If they have a contact at Arasaka, or they have like a third-party fixer that they can rely on to, at the very least, I don't know, provide them some extra guns if they're in a bind or something like that, that's going to be good. That's going to, I can say pretty definitively, that's going to be a benefit for the game. So I hope that answers your question. For running a grand campaign in... Oh, somebody's dead over there. Well, that's not my fucking problem.
Right, like why the fuck was he all...
I got no idea. Tell you what though, I'm grabbing Death Cheat. Oh goddamn, he's far. Anyways. So I hope that answers your question. Star, if you're still in the chat, do you have any follow-up questions? Because I would be happy to address them.
Oh, he quit anyways, fuck him. Like, why go all the way over there, get yourself fucking killed, and then just leave?
Give me just a sec, folks. Alright, we're back. Let's see here. Star Sandwich says, totally thanks for the answer. Good, 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 good. Now you're obligated to tell me what it is that you're going to do with this campaign now that I gave you this answer. And you have to think of it in the next 30 seconds, because nobody likes bad radio. What was that? Oh, I see. That's how you're supposed to deal with those flaming guys.
This is gonna be rough.
Bradford Walker says, I'm glad that the online discourse is moving away from nobody played this way to how do we do this? Yeah, because it's first of all, it's more fun. I just missed that guy at point blank. I feel embarrassed. No, so because I've seen this like sea change in the discourse for quite a few months now, maybe even as long as a year. Oh god, I don't know. I think when it starts raining really heavily, I think that generally means that I think it forces the birds off, but also I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if that's actually the case. But yeah, so I've seen this sea change in the OSR, ROSR people adjacent in the past few years who are, oh, he's got fucking dogs on him. Down. fucking dogs around here. I hear somebody else is shooting too. Jeez. You fighting over there? Not bad. And because people are so focused on whatchamacallit, people are so focused on like the how nowadays. Because if you don't tell people how, they're going to be freaked out, and they're going to use that to some extent as an excuse. Say it can't be done. Like, oh, this is just woo-woo, wishy-washy, useless GM advice. That's typical to actually... I made a video about this called Bad GMing Advice. And it was people not giving you specifics. It was people giving you random nonsense that wasn't actually actionable. And I identified this as bad. This is something that you shouldn't be doing. So if I give people a mandate, my understanding nowadays is if I give people a mandate, I better provide them with some way to put that mandate into place. Otherwise, I've engaged in some rather poor and antisocial behavior that I've been criticizing for a while now. So that's why I made the video... the introduction video to running the Grand Campaign. It's just, here's a brief overview of what we mean when we say Grand Campaign. Here is something that you could use for your understanding of like why we would do this. Here's the pitch basically of I'm going to turn your D&D game into a community. As opposed to, oh, this is not good. Well, if I haven't gotten shot yet, they're probably not looking directly at the staircase. Where's that guy go? There's a rather large underground complex beneath this, and I'm not inclined to fight it alone. Fight in it alone, or separated for that matter. So Stars says, I'm really not happy that he waited all that time. That's technically. So, Stars says, I'm out of here. Nope, that's it. We're done. Sorry, bud. I won't be anywhere near that. I've got pink for base right now, too. That's rude. They're going to follow me or go the other way? I think they're going the other way. So, Stars says, definitely I'm looking for advice on setting up round students and patrons. I winged it once as an experiment, and my players, including newbies, loved it, but I'm always looking for advice. Yeah, so setting up ground students, having some initial, I think, procedures, resources for starting off, I think is really important to folks who are just being introduced to this concept for the first time. Okay, here's the guy. Alright, he extracted. Those guys are also going to go extract. Yeah, so Hufos Acre says, coming from AD&D First Edition and 3.5 Pathfinder, I'd like to run detail-oriented patrons. What's the ideal level of mechanical interaction for What? I'm worried. I don't like the situation I'm in right now. Well, we're gonna have 5 minutes to run the fuck out of here. So, are you ready to get? Did you die on purpose, or what happened there?
No, someone shot me. Someone's just sitting here.
Well, buddy, we gotta leave. So, I hope you also want to leave.
Yep, no point in staying.
I was talking to the other guy, whoever was shooting at us. Hopefully they also want to leave. Can we run across the whole map in 5 minutes? Can we get to the west?
I don't know how I didn't kill the guy who killed
Oh,
me.
you
I
know what?
shot him in the
North.
face
North.
with
Let's
my
go
shotgun.
north. You're right. It's a little bit closer. What's the ideal level of mechanical interaction for patrons for you or your games? That's difficult, because I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Okay, so mechanical interaction. I have a settlements appendix for Chilmus Valley. This is the module that I run and I created for 5th edition. And that settlement appendix has some basic information on stuff like shops. It's mostly the shops and recruitment centers that your players are going to make use of. So the two most important things, I guess, to me, when it comes to resolving locations, specifically settlements, is what kind of combatants can you acquire from this location, and what kind of commerce can you engage in at this location. That's the very, very high level, broad strokes of what matters to me when it comes to mechanical interactions. 3 minutes. Okay, I'm feeling confident. We can make this. Also, I noticed the last time I looked at one of my videos, I saw that the chat was not scrolling properly, so I'm going to see if I can make sure that that does it here. I think it's doing it here. Where's that guy go? So when it comes to mechanical interactions, I think patrons are primarily focused on either warfare-based victories or economic victories. And that kind of flows down to the faction mechanics, settlement mechanics, anything that's really location-dependent that my players are going to engage with. I usually don't look at the patron game as being something that's separate from the main game. My priority is tying it into player-character interactions, even if they're not necessarily direct. In fact, they're usually not direct. I'll give you an example from the current Grand Campaign. I managed to bully one of my players into... Yeah, anytime, buddy. I managed to bully one of my players into running a one-shot. I gave them a suggestion as to what that one-shot could be, because one of my patrons had killed the... Ooh, okay, I see the specific question now. I'm going to finish this up first. One of my patrons is trying to secure his local area. In securing his local area, he discovered one of the tiny hamlets one of the tiny villages around his domain is actually controlled by a whole bunch of aberrations and corrupted people, and it's kind of like, what is it? Whatever that Lovecraft story about fish people near the edge of the lake or ocean was. I can't even remember the name of it right now, which is rather embarrassing. I feel like I should be able to repeat this on command, but for whatever reason I can't. So y'all are just gonna have to deal with it. Yeah, no worries, Jack. See you, buddy. Alright, so what I did was I instructed... Well, we're going to have 4 players for this Friday session. So what I did was I instructed... Shadow over Ismuth. Durian, I love you, buddy. So this guy finds out there's a whole bunch of aberrations there. There's a portal going to the stars that he now has to worry about. And... Why is my ping so high? This is ridiculous, bro. Jeez. It probably has a little bit to do with the fact I'm streaming, but also I still have that. I still have that gigabyte speeds, even though I'm getting rid of that plan. But I guess that doesn't count for anything. I know I should just use this lady again. Pretty good. He's pretty good. Yeah, we'll just use this lady again. Why not? So yeah. So now what's her face? This player, Kyrona, thank you, or Bar is Kyrona is her favorite character name. Bar is the player handle on Discord. Is going to run a one-shot for players who intend to basically banish this extraplanar incursion. Now, when the players receive a notice about this opportunity or this opportunity to do a quest, it's not going to be the patron talking to them, by and large. They're going to receive a notice. A lot of high-level NPCs know these players, know their characters, so it's gonna travel down the grapevine, and one of the benefits of being high level, paying for housing in like upper class districts, etc., buying armies from certain places, is that a lot of people know you. There's a grapevine that will just deliver quests onto you, right? So it's not gonna be the patron talking to them directly. The way that relates to Hufos's question, which is how much are patrons allowed to manage troops and equipment, developing land, and so on, is that, once again, it's focused on economic victories, economic consolidation, warfare victories, and warfare consolidation, right? You are either beating the crap out of people nearby, and that's how you get a bunch of gold, or you are keeping people nearby from beating the crap out of you, and you save money by not having to replenish troops, is the running theory. But you're not playing the high-risk, high-reward game. Ditto for the economic portion. So patrons are allowed to upgrade or build or construct certain buildings inside of their settlements. But a lot of these settlements actually, believe it or not, have a... Oh, the baby's in the... Cool. He's in the hallway. A lot of the buildings that I write them out, when I write them out on the settlement appendix, or sorry, note the locations page, I say, this is a smithy, it's level 3, here's what a level 3 smithy does, just reference the settlement appendix. But, there's a restriction on this thing. It can't be upgraded until X objective is completed, right? There needs to be a more reliable source of raw iron before this can be completed. A certain monster in the area needs to be killed before this building can be upgraded. Observe. And so the patrons do have a nominal ability to hire troops, build buildings, to construct buildings, I should say. Oh, it's got a fucking helmet. Oh, that's not good. Huh. But yeah, so they can buy stuff. They can how do I put this? So they can buy troops. They can build buildings, construct buildings. The buildings, they don't have like full autonomy when it comes to those buildings. Like, I will instruct the patrons that, like, by the way, this has a conditional upgrade restriction. If it's outlined, let's say it's outlined in red, when I get to the document that you guys can actually see directly on on the right hand, like the right hand side of your screens, upper right corner. I'll say, by the way, you have barracks level 2 infantry. That can't be upgraded until XYZ, or I might not even tell them necessarily. I might start off just by saying, by the way, this has a conditional upgrade thing. If you're really worried about... I think somebody's nearby. I'm pretty sure somebody's nearby. Hey, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, you might so. That's being a good falling back. Yeah, I figured. Where's that smug bastard? Give me a shot at him, just one shot at him. Well, so much for relying on my teammate. Right fucking next to me. Alright, back to menu. I wonder if that death cheat thing worked. There's a trait that you could pick up for this event called Death Cheat, that I think keeps you from losing your character. So it's more focused to incentivize against just turtling and playing solo on a single act. Yes, and some of them are more isolationist than others. But even the isolationist ones... Yeah, I got Death Cheat. Alright, cool. It does work. Sweet. I don't know what to... But maybe I should play something that has a little bit more... a bit of an easier time. Yeah, let's go with, we know what to do here. So even the isolationist patrons have mechanics which keep them or incentivize them to not turtle. Or even if they are turtling, it doesn't prevent them from interacting with the player character, for whom I don't want to answer 16 different questions before they actually join the game, and I find out whether or not they're actually a good fit for the party, whether or not they're a good fit for the game, whether or not they're antisocial. I don't want to have to go through that stuff, all the work, before they actually come in. Buddy, I'm gonna pick you up. Nope, I told you to stop roaming. You escape. Yeah, you can murmur all you want. From here, you sit in my lap now. Where was I? I don't want to answer a bunch of questions for a player character who I don't know if is even going to make it to the first session, because that takes a lot of resources away from my actual player characters, alright? The people who show up every week, or they try to play once a week, or maybe they try to run themselves. I don't want to lose those people in favor of some dickhead who's just not even going to play the game, or who maybe I'll have to... This happened the other day. I had to kick a player out mid-session, which was a first. It felt great, because I am now confident that I could do this again if, God forbid, I need to. But yeah, so I don't want to waste my time like that. Similarly, when it comes to patrons... Buddy, your claws wouldn't be stuck on my shirt if you had just retracted your claws. You had not put them out in the first place. Yep, you can whine all you want. But yeah. Stop complaining, buddy. So, when it comes to patrons, similarly, I don't want to do any work. Or I don't want to do a lot of work, but realistically speaking, I don't want to do any work. Writing things out and answering questions and handling orders for a patron who is not going to interact with the player characters, who isn't going to give them adventure material, adventure content to work with. So my general theory is, even if I provide for isolationalist factions, which should exist, somebody should be able to try out the Patron game, the Patron mechanic, without immediately going in and raising a few towns, right? That should be an option for somebody, at least. They need to have some mechanic that incentivizes them to talk to player characters. I'm going to provide an example on screen in just a moment. Alright, now you can, do what? No, I'm just going to put you up here. And you sit down. Nope, you could sit down. Yeah, you can whine all you want. It's time for you to sit down. Turtle patrons are the worst. So let's go with an example on screen here. Hold Hrothgar. So, Hold Hrothgar has two... It's a dwarf hold. It's in the upper left corner of the map. It's rather interesting. One of the players has an ambassador from Hold Hrothgar at her keep that allows her to recruit more dwarven units. Allows her allies to build an outpost there. It has two special mechanics, one of which is based on its forces. Let's see here. What is it? What happened? Crap. Why am I struggling with this? Hold Hrothgar can never deploy more forces than it has at home. So it's like an explicitly isolationalist faction. Certainly the natural incentive is to play it that way. You could make a whole bunch of money, figure out how to make a whole bunch of money. Maybe you take on specific weak opponents and you just get lucky and you bring home a big payday, and you're able to recover a lot of troops as a result, right? That's fine. But the base incentive is, hey, if you want to deploy forces, you have to have an equal number of forces at home. And that's not too difficult at the beginning because they have a pretty big garrison. And those forces start off at home to begin with, so nobody's going to come attack you. The second mechanic is Dig. This is a dwarven hold. It says that Hold Hrothgar is permitted to dig into the world below up to 3 times per month. When digging, the hold may choose a separate dig site or increase the depth of the dig site. Successful dig sites return a hoard, depending on their depth, indicated below. Depth 1 returns a hoard, and a hoard is a classification of treasure in the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide. Not really used anywhere else, but it was sufficient for my purposes. A dig site of 1 returns a hoard for CR 0 through 4 creatures, depth of 2, CR 5 through 10, and a depth of 3, 11 through 16. And to keep somebody from just constantly going depth 3, add the second portion to this mechanic. Be warned, for though you may dig too deep and too greedily, this will bring unwanted denizens of the world below into your hold, which will halt all current digs. A depth of 1 has a 1 in 6 chance of incursion, a depth of 2 has a 2 in 6 chance of incursion, and a depth of 3 has a 4 in 6 chance of incursion. So that's a mechanic. For probably the most isolationalist faction on the map. They don't have to deal with anybody. They don't have to, well, they do have to trade with somebody because they start off trading with, in the normal module, they start off trading with the White Orchid Cairn, which is a elf domain. And in this campaign in particular, that faction has already struck an alliance of sorts with a Baroness Sierra near Bronlock, but there's no trade relationship because they're too far away. So even these guys, the most isolationalists on the map, they don't need anybody or anything. They still have a mechanic which necessitates, sometimes, calling in player characters. Because say you have a depth of 3 and you have a 4 and 6 chance of incursion, say you get an incursion there. If you get an incursion from a depth of 3, that's going to be something like Mind Flayers, right? Or some other, like, deep denizen of the Underdark. Maybe it's an Avalanche. It's probably going to be Mind Flayers, to be honest. But first of all, awesome. Now I get to include Mind Flayers in my game. But second of all, say Holt Hrothgar doesn't want to get rid of all that loot. What is it? A CR... I'm going to bring up my 5e. D&D 5e Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm pretty sure I know what the page number is as well. I can't bring it up on this screen because actually there's too many things to bring up. But like for 11 through 16, somebody roll me a D100 in the chat there. Who's got me? Who's got me? Spot me with D100. Visual treasure, treasure hoard. There we go. It's on page 138. And let's see what the chat has for 41 from Bradford Walker. Okay, 41. On a result of 41 through 45. 3d6, average of 10, 500 gold piece gems, and roll 1d6 times. Hey, buddy. Roll 1d6 times on magic item table C. So that's another 3 d100s. Oh, those guys are dying over there. 46 times 1,000 gold pieces. And 5d6 times 100 platinum pieces. I don't know what these guys are doing over here, but they're dying. Nope. But yeah, so magic item table C is rather significant, I'll say. It's pretty handy. Certainly for wealthy characters. He is very, oh my god. He's a Murray boy right now. Man, those guys were dog shit. Jeez. And imagine with two teammates who like ran immediately into another team and died. And didn't know how to ping.
Guess who won like
Red won. The game is Hunt Showdown. Looks still cold. Jeez. Go get yourself some food. Atta girl. No, it's definitely Hunt Showdown. So I'm gonna see if I could pull some of my buddies, some of my boys into... What is that? Town Hall? Yeah, we're gonna break. He was murmuring every 2 seconds, so I yanked him over to the desk. Yeah, I'll just customize this lady. high equip. That'll be fine. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, so at this stage, if anybody wants to jump into the chat, just jump onto the Discord, jump into any voice channel on the Discord. I will yank you in here. I think after this game, we're going to focus on questions for new characters. And, yeah, after this game, we're going to focus on questions for new characters, or from new characters, from new adventurers, and on finishing up the faction mechanics. And then we'll probably close out around 10 CST. Keep things from getting too crazy. See here. Building reaches. Alright, so one of the factions, I think the first one that I actually do want to finish up is House Marta. House Marta has not one but two, as far as I'm concerned, really interesting mechanics for a really deathly evil faction. The first of which is, well, I suppose I should give a little bit of context for this. So, Ash Marta's main thoroughfare flanks an underground river downstream of a dam built long ago for electrical power. Very few of these generators remain online, and the lower districts are prone to severe flooding. The architecture resembles New Orleans. So Ash Marta, unlike a lot of other settlements writ large, is, yeah, Hufos. Hufos, you should hop into the Discord so we can talk about your fucking faction. This is your faction. Let's see here. So yeah, unlike a lot of other enclaves or other, anything, it's mostly just a river, and then there is a city built around it, an underground city just built around it. See, now I'm thinking about the only other underground city that I have a reference for, which is from some book that I think was named Amber. I think it was named Amber. And it was about people who spent way too long in an underground city that was not supposed to last as long as the people living in it did. Like, they just never ventured up topside or something like that. And as a result, I'll take care of him. That took care of something at the very least. Don't work, lots of industrial machines could make for unpleasant background noise. That's fair enough, buddy. I don't wanna get you in trouble with anything. Yeah, underground city, they have the big dam that functions as a unique building. What the dam does is it lets you temporarily upgrade certain buildings that are on the upper strata of your upper and middle strata of your city, because it is literally tiered in terms of what is more or less prone to flooding. That's important. Which is why I shot it. Yes, the Vault Tech. Underground setup. Rise, glorious mofo. That's not the story I was thinking of, but that absolutely counts. What the hell's that? Oh, it's a horse. The one thing I hate about this thing is seeing all the dead horses around. It's like, no, they didn't do anything. Leave them alone. And what you could do is you could basically spin up the dam to generate more electrical power. But the problem is, because so many of the generators are offline, it's going to feed, narratively speaking, it's going to feed more water into the city. Meaning any buildings that you have on those lower tiers of the city are going to be rendered inoperable for a month. You can do it month by month. That's pretty much the plan. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Rockjaw, this way. We are also getting... Oh, it's right here. Is it right here? There's a big gator mountain. Oh, there we go! Let the peasants soak then. Yeah, that's probably going to be the valid strategy. For being completely honest. Oh, good. They also found... Crap. Well, this isn't fair. Yeah, I told you so. I hope you've got a... Anyways, selective and intentional monsoon seasons. Very cool. Yeah, man, I'm excited to see you. I'm excited to see you in particular play. Oh, cool. Now I'm able to back up to full. We just need What was that? I don't know what. Oh, it's a beetle. Alright, well, I got it. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to use this for, but. Let's see if anybody's around us. Savage, so what kind of character are you introducing to the into the game, and do you want to chat about it? Where's Big Gator Mom? She. How was that? right. Oh, I don't like this. Gotcha. Gentlemen, this is how you use the ping key. It's also how you run out of ammo. Here, chatting so that who was that directed towards? Interesting. That was towards Savage Prawn. Oh, I see. It's let's see here. Let's put that back on. Yes, I know, guys. I don't have ammo. Grab. Give me your loot! Alright, he still had ammo. Alright, so Savage Pawn says, great cleric is the idea. Sort of a life of the living idea. Would love to chat, but I'm getting dragged off for work right now. Oh, that sucks. Hufos, if you indicate your, if you change your chat from top to, if you change your chat from top to live, it should pop up in your screen as well. Oh, there's something else here. Greetings. I'll be taking that. Maybe I do one. Let's go with the shotgun, screw it. What's gonna stop me? Oop, a little bit of lag. Yeah, thank you. It's funny that you're doing Grave Cleric, because literally 2 others, like, we now have like 3 Grave Clerics that have entered the game within a week. Partially because one player wanted to take a Grave Cleric Necromancer hunting. And naturally I said yes. I said, sure, there's Necromancers in the Valley. There's actually a school dedicated to Necromancy in the Valley. So why not? But they do all sorts of shenanigans that give them enough plausible deniability that nobody comes after them or nobody stops them. One of the, probably the most useful or handy of which is their ability for... Oh! Oh god, that's not good! Alright, nobody around. We're good. We're good. Ooh, mama. This guy had no health left.
Going into the reef line.
Anyways. See, I need to wrap up at work as well. I'll rewatch later, but it was cool to hear about Marta a bit more in the meantime. Eager to implement fourth generational warfare on my pals. Awesome. Awesome. Well, very happy to hear that. Where's my gator? Where is that gator? I don't recognize this place now that it's not pouring. You hear him? Jeez. Oh, it's marked on the map. I'm a dumbass. I marked it. I'll mark it for you on the map. Let me just check. Cool, cool, cool. Jeez. Alrighty. We're gonna let her calm down for a second. Ooh, huh. Pretty sure nobody else is left here. I'm pretty sure everybody else is dead. Siggy says, hey, just got to join the stream. Patron stuff is looking great. Buddy, you should hop in the voice chat. So you and I can, in the server I mean, so that you and I can chat about the Patron. Because what we're going to do is... What are you doing down there, buddy? is get your stuff sorted and set so that you can. You say, Gabe, what are you? You're House Kane, aren't you? Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. You're House Kane. Good mic, but I can talk for a bit. Yeah, screw it. Listen, we'll give it, we'll give it a couple of minutes. If it's really that bad, we'll put the kibosh on it. Probably be fine now. What's the closest? Yeah, closest exfil is that way. Just let me know once you jump into one of the voice channels, and I will yank you in there. Pretty sure it is. Don't want to have to do it right now. There we go. Can you hear me? Oh, you're playing through my... Let me put you through default. Can you hear me now? I can hear you. You don't sound half as bad as I was expecting. You know what? Perfect. No, laptop mics are awful. I don't even know why they put them in there. Except for the NSA. That's the only reason. Feds. Feds! Alright, so you are House Kane. House Kane, I'll give you the quick rundown, they are one of the premier houses of the deep elf houses of the Underdark. They do have their own enclave. It's not terribly big, but it is well defended. Out of all the houses in the Underdark, they are perhaps the most martial. They are currently responsible, or... responsible? No. Along with House Marta, yeah, they are primarily... they're among the two houses primarily responsible for sinking hexes into the Underdark. Or collapsing them into the Underdark, which we refer to as the world below. They do not have a lot of economic power. They sort of rely on House Marta in a, like, give and take relationship for economic what is it? They give you economic power in exchange for economic resources, I should say, not power, in exchange for your military might. And it's, generally speaking, a pretty beneficial arrangement, because House Marta produces the World Eater spores that actually sink hexes into the Underdark. They have a couple other uses. They're a bit like unicorn horns or some other fantastic abilities. And your mechanic is extra slaves. So most deep elf houses, when they win a battle, and only win a battle, some of the prisoners that they take, as part of the enemy taking casualties, will result in you acquiring auxiliary units that are made of slaves. Slaves aren't terribly good in terms of like direct fights and stuff like that. They have a pretty crappy morale, pretty good chance to rout, but they are pretty effective. They're free meat shields. In the right circumstance, they can be extremely effective in that circumstance. It's a question of like, you want your... If you know that you're going to replace this unit, provided you win the battle, do you want your guys that you actually like taking a cavalry charge, or do you want the slaves that you're about to replace taking that charge? You know? So the House Cain mechanic is they get extra slaves. When House Cain takes prisoners from a battle, they gain one additional auxiliary unit of slaves. If they won the battle, they instead gain 2 additional auxiliary units of slaves. Shoot. Yeah, so when you sync... Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Part of it is warfare. Because these, all of these different houses, or almost all of them, are ruled by tyrants that hate the world above. Part of it is for, like, the master plan is to sink a large enough portion of the valley that resources and, like, water runoff spills into the world below. But in a fashion that, and, like, eventually starts, like, basically the ecology will sort of transfer into the world below. But the world below will still have a significant amount of like shade from the sun, because in this valley the sun always rises and sets from the same place in the north. So if they sink, and I'm going to put this up on the stream here, I'm going to put the overworld map on the stream. Activate. Here we go. Cool. That's right, something's going through there. Who the hell put a bunch of random drawings on this? some of them I recognize because they're not. Some that I made like in I don't know, in the middle of sessions, which is fine, because players are writing. Sometimes I look over like, what the hell is going on? Oh no, the ones that are remaining on the map are purposeful, like different ley lines or notes like, hey, there's a teleportation circle here, Cobalt Dragon territory. You get the idea. But yeah, so the valley has sort of good evening, Alchemic Raker. I'm sorry to disappoint you, buddy. If you were here to go over the notes from Dying Breed Tabletop, unfortunately it does not look as if they've sent them over for some reason. Said he had 3 whole pages of notes about Roasar's fallacies. I can't seem to get him to share those with me. Kind of unfortunate. But so the valley is separated into basically like 3 tiers. The most northern third of the map is the highest in elevation, and then there's like cracks in the earth and places where the terrain has sunken slightly further down until the lower third is not quite at sea level, but not terribly far above sea level. And it's a lot of plains, basically, flatlands. And their plan is some of the things that they're doing are random, so that they can, like, if you sink a bunch of hexes in between, like, say, your hex, which is House Cain, and House Marta, you could establish a more reliable trade route. Or even if you just collapse those hexes into the Underdark. So there's certain other benefits like that, where, like, okay, each time you collapse one of these things, it's a new entry point for your troops into the world above, because those don't exist just anywhere. They are restricted. But also, obviously, the most major thing is military might. You knock out a bunch of major players inside the valley and take their hexes, then you don't have to worry about them stopping you from erecting towns, villages, cities of your own on the surface world, or just taking over somebody else's. The biggest human city is a place called Asheris, which is, I think, a level 4 settlement, maybe like a level 5 settlement. It's the biggest one around here. There's only like 3 big cities. So obviously, if you manage to take that thing over, then you have like this ready-made, fortified place that lets your guys be the predominant force in this section of the valley. Pretty much. Absolutely. Yeah, so it's kind of like, obviously if you collapse it, then you can't use it, but it's a little bit faster than just sinking it further down. So if you're ever in like a scorched earth policy, I remember there was an Avalon Hill game like this where it was like trolls versus fairies, and like the fairies had these hidden places called cairns. Guess where I got the idea from? That they could use, but the trolls couldn't. But the trolls had the option of, and I think the fairies also had this option of, every time you managed to like defeat a given settlement, like in a siege or whatever, you had the option to raise it. You had the option to, like, well, you couldn't use it. You couldn't use each other's settlements, so you had the option of destroying each other's settlements, so that at the very least, the other person couldn't use it. But if nobody has any settlements left, then you lose the game. And what happened was that game apparently almost always ended in a draw. Because people would just raze each other's settlements to the ground. I remember Jim Murphy talking about that, a good friend of Matt Colville's, who used that as the setting or the basis of his Albion game. Yeah, I think called it like Dark Albion or something like that. The fairies, like the Tuatha or the fairies or whatever he was calling them, would fight the trolls, and then they would basically destroy each other, and then there would be a brief age of elves, and then there were a bunch of humans running around. And because the Fae basically nuked each other, had this ridiculous all-out war, all of a sudden, man had an opportunity to go adventuring. In England, at the very least. Let's see here. Hex map made with what tool? So initially this was made with Hexographer. I'm redoing it because Hexographer does not interact properly with Foundry. I don't know what they did to make it so that these hexes were not, for whatever reason, like differently sized than whatever Foundry's hexes are. Because I'm pretty sure Foundry's hexes are like perfectly symmetrical. Apparently, Worldographer's hexes are not. So I'll be basically painting over this with an incarnate map. Nice to see you, Brian James. The idea. House Kane starts off with a crap ton of forces. 6 units of Deep Elf Archers, 2 units of Deep Elf Archer Scouts, 4 units of Deep Elf Infantry, 4 units of Deep Elf Cavalry, 4 units of Deep Elf Cavalry, Mounted Archers, and 3 units of Deep Elf Sea. Enough units that you can basically split that into 2 separate armies, send them out, and have a relative chance of success. Or even a good chance of success when it came to destroying especially the minor settlements. There's plenty of unnamed, unlisted, just tiny hamlets and villages that you could go across and just go razing and pillaging. It's as important for villages, or sorry, player characters to be able to like go into those places, and for me to be able to say, yeah, there's a tiny village there, and they have this problem, this swamp monster attacking them. Go help them out, as it is for me to be able to say, but Patron, yeah, there's like a tiny village, and this 24-mile hextra, there's a tiny village somewhere around here. You could absolutely go murder them. Take some prisoners, hole up, set camp, etc. Folks, give me just a second. I'm gonna bounce for like 5 minutes. And we're back. Alrighty. I'm going to bring the factions down right over. I'll give House Marta like two barracks buildings. And I'll give them a level 1 barracks for a level 2 barracks for archers. Guys, House Marta, they have a level 2, yeah, this settlement community. Yes. It's 1,500 per month. The thing is, you guys get, let's see here. Oh, you are still in here. Okay, cool. Settlement level 2 has a monthly income of 750 and a monthly trade value of 250. That's just from the settlement. That's not just from. That's just from the settlement. That's not like in total for all your buildings and stuff like that. Obviously, we have House Marta has a building called a research center that outputs their world eater spores, and that gives them that because it counts as an apothecary and an enchanter. It also gives them a lot of money. And then they have 2 resource production buildings that gives them a lot of money as well. And probably more than anything else, they rely on mercenaries when they're not relying on House K. Defcon Sean, that's a really good roll. Some of these guys are doing fantastic on stats. Let's see here. That's them. What kind of forces do I get? Tell you what, I'll just let them build. Yeah. I'll just have them build 2 mercenary companies out of. Built from a budget. Only voice on Steam is Rube. On stream is Rube's. Not sure if that's intentional. Yeah, the other guy is absent for the moment. Or their mic's not working. I see you lighting up. That's weird. There's a video. Output device. Yeah, I can't hear you right now.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Now I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what you did.
I thought you did something. Okay, that's great. Oh well, if this happens again, I'll just jiggle phone around or something. That's kind of what I did.
Oh yeah. All right, so for House Marta, I'll give them 2 mercenary companies built from a budget of I don't know, 7,000 gold. They don't actually have a barracks to speak of. And then I'll give them, I don't know, 2 units of archers. Two units of infantry. I'll mark them both as being part of the garrison. For House Kane, we're gonna say we're gonna add on. Let's see here. Garrison component is composed of any 8 deep elf units and 4 auxiliary slave units. So you'll be able to choose. I've dictated your forces already. They were able to send out in armies, but for your garrison, that's going to be, you'll be able to choose whatever deep elf units you want, whether they're archers, cavalry, or infantry, or siege engines, and you'll be able to choose 4 auxiliary slave units. There we are. And for your buildings, you got barracks level 2, barracks level 3, for barracks level 2 for infantry, barracks level 3 for archers, level 1 for cavalry, level 3 for siege engines. Then you have a resource production building, which is like anything that's a money building is just called a resource production. And you tell me like, hey, wouldn't it be neat if I could use this natural resource nearby? Like, hey, there's a bunch of I don't know, there's a bunch of kobolds nearby. Can I sell them? You know, that
There
turns
we
into
go,
a
yeah.
resource production building.
So
And
what does
income.
barracks level do? I thought you were done. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Does it? It makes them better, but how?
So a barracks does 2 things. A barracks is what you source your units from, and each barracks needs to be like individually tied to a specific unit type. Though you can take subtypes from them. So like gunmen, scouts, mounted archers, or shock troops. Those are 4 subtypes, and they just modify the other unit types.
Okay.
What increasing the level does is, if you have a level 3 barracks, you could choose to recruit 1 unit of, say, level 3, or you could choose to recruit, let's say, a level 2 unit and a level 1 unit. And basically, increasing the barracks level increases your budget with which to either recruit higher level troops or more troops of a lower level. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. That's pretty elegant. I like that.
It's pretty handy. You have a level 3 barracks for siege engines. You either do
Yeah.
3 siege engines at level 1 experience, or you can do a level 3 siege engine. Once they're tapped out for the season at present.
Okay.
If you end up running out and you happen to have some money or something like that, you could always make use of. You could always either, especially as a deep elf, you could just destroy minor settlements to get more slaves and supplement your army that way. But normally, what a lot of the other armies are going to be doing is hiring mercenary companies, which come in pretty much every 3 months. Alchemic Raker says it's like how many total hit dice you can recruit from it. Yeah, that's a very elegant explanation. So that'll be good. And then anytime you form an alliance with another settlement, or you build another settlement, or you loot another settlement, I guess, like take over another territory, you'll be able to construct more barracks there, source more troops there, etc., etc.
Yeah. I see.
Now, I suppose if you have cavalry, then you need stables. That's not really optional.
I would like that, yes.
Your stables, level 2. Some of the buildings are like other building dependent. Like if you have cavalry, obviously you need stables for whatever kind of mounts you ride. In your case, it's either going to be dinosaurs or it's going to be wyverns. Probably a little bit of both. I don't think I have anything in there about getting the flying benefit. But actually, why not? You're like a big bad guy house, so why not? Level 2.
Why not? Yeah.
I don't know if there's an aviary in there, which is a stable upgrade that lets you basically supply and make use of flying mounts. Oh, that's right, because the players have fought House Kane already, and they did have some flying mounts. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, there we go. I considered like just leaning heavier into the infantry and archers, but flying mounts, man. Oh boy.
Hard to give up.
That is tempting.
I think they've already fought. They've already fought at least one amethyst dragon that was from House Kane. So there'll be a monstrous unit that you'll have the option of recruiting at specific, basically at specific key points. You'll have the option of recruiting an amethyst dragon or supplying one of your heroes with an amethyst dragon if they happen to get to a certain level, stuff like that.
Mm. Did the PCs get it? I'm guessing this is the PCs. Maybe it's something else.
What do you mean about the PCs?
Did they kill my dragon? I think, if I'm interpreting this right.
Oh yeah, they definitely killed one of the dragons. Yeah.
Boo.
Let's see here. A level 3 settlement gets. Monthly income is 1,500. And monthly trade value is 750. Like I was saying earlier, this does not include the buildings that you have or have access to.
It's like a base income. Yeah.
So, like, there's a resource production area and the stables, and those also bring in additional income. And should at the very least, supplement your initial economy, and then you probably negotiate with House Marta for the standard is that House Marta gives you money and you give them military support because they're running at a significant surplus with no military, and you're running at a not too much of a deficit, but any deficit is enough to start attritioning troops.
Yeah, for sure. What about the trade value? I'm guessing you make like trade agreements with other factions.
Yeah, you have to make so trade value uh, is the value of settlements and buildings that goes up to basically a total, and you get that total if you happen to you get that total monthly if you have a trade partner. Now, it doesn't increase with the number of trade partners that you have. At the moment, at the very least, I might revise that some other time. But having multiple trade partners prevents, something like a faction moving on your normal trade route and basically preventing you from doing any kind of trade at all. So having multiple trade partners doesn't have a direct economic benefit, but it does have but it does act as insurance against suddenly losing it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how you and especially your partner, House Marta, interact with the player characters. Right now, you guys have
Well,
like it. Yeah, like
and
right now,
are
you
the
guys have
PCs
like
good? That's one of the big questions.
nominally speaking, but like I'm not sure how much that. I know that if I was playing like an evil character or an evil faction, and like there was somebody out there who was really good at solving problems, I would probably figure out some way. I could think of a few different ways that I would get them to solve certain problems for me. A lot of them involving gold and maybe third parties.
Mm. A lot of this kind of the enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of things. You know,
Not even that. I would just contact them
you just
anonymously.
you just offer them gold
Yeah,
anonymously. Yeah.
this is like go to X mercenary company and tell them like, hey, I need you to go here. I need you to fuck with XYZ. Like, oh, the player characters went there. It's like great, great. Now they could deal with oh whatever's left.
Hmm. Smart is probably going to be better at that. Bid
Mm-hmm.
me and so forth. I guess the other big question is if we'll continue that precedent of being friends with each other, and one hand washes the other,
Yeah,
or if
that's
one of
pretty
us
much
gets any
the
ideas.
well. That's pretty much the directive. Is you guys are to some extent reliant on each other. I wouldn't if either of you gave an order to like, hey, let's I want to betray this other guy for whatever reason. Like, no.
Yeah.
No, that is outside. That is outside your win conditions and relationship mandates. Like, for instance, House. What is it? Hold Hrothgar currently has a beneficial relationship with Baroness Sierra, and has like this ancestral friends. Like this dwarf was friends with this elf, and it burgeoned into this alliance, and that's continued down the generations. If the player for Hold Hrothgar wanted to suddenly nuke your relationship, it would be like, no, that goes against the bounds of what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So
I
patrons do
understand.
have certain relationship mandates, whereas player characters obviously don't.
Yeah. I like that approach. Like a part of the reason why I joined is if I might try this in my own campaign. And I think one of the big questions when it comes to patron play is like how much freedom do you give them to do whatever they want, and how much do you restrain them for like the health of the campaign. I
Mm-hmm.
like the approach you're taking. because
Something I recommend to everybody is if you're doing a Patron game, start off with like for every one default friend that the patron has, they should probably have about 2 enemies of a similar caliber. And they should start off with a friend and 2 enemies. Is the idea. They shouldn't have free access to develop whatever relationships they want because they're taking over for an NPC that exists.
it's a good rule of thumb.
Mm-hmm. There's one player, the guy that Brigandine is actually playing. He's playing the leader of what, like is it the Grove of Ember Winds, which is pronounced, what is it? Its home tongue is Lothwolnik. The Grove of Ember Winds. It's like there is a mage college nearby that teaches necromancy. They teach all of the aspects of necromancy, such as raising dead and killing undead, right? So they want to maintain that plausible deniability while getting like the money of even unsavory characters. Have all these rules about like, all right, students aren't allowed to duel with one another except under direct supervision. It's never allowed to be the death. They're not allowed to fight outside of school. They're not allowed to fight each other at all past like I think 6 months their graduation date. Both members have to be 6 months past their graduation date because they know there's like grave clerics in there who are all about putting undead back into the ground, and there's plenty of evil necromancers there who are all about raising them. Or learning how to turn themselves into vampires or some shit. But they want all of their money, and they don't want other people to come in and say, "Oh, these are like good people who are teaching us how to destroy, teaching the students how to destroy necromancy. Come on, League of Necromancers, let's go fuck their shit up and steal their secrets." And they also don't want, we're the Holy Order of whatever. This college is just teaching these kids how to play necromancy. Let's go murder them. It's like by writing that. Not even balance. It's not technically balance if you just like if you just teach the worst of everything, if that makes sense. If you teach what somebody out there in the world hates most, and you found basically that thing for every single faction. I don't know if I call that balance, but it is a really good insurance policy against getting attacked. And point being, Brigandine, one of the first things Brigandine said was like, "Oh, well, we're probably gonna try to burn those guys down." I said, No, they specifically, they're well warded against this. They have a lot of political protections against this. And it's why the Ember Grove hasn't done it already, is because they themselves are not raising undead armies right next to them and taking over the campaign map. They value their studies more than like taking over parts of the world, at least for the moment. So that's why they've lasted so long, and that's why the Growth of Ember Winds hasn't done anything about it so far. There's nothing to be done about, realistically speaking.
Yeah.
So I just put the kibosh on that and said, maybe some point down the line, right? Like if that faction does something, if they do something they're not supposed to, if they fuck with somebody they're not supposed to, or maybe if here's a good example. If the players give them an excuse, I don't know what that would be like, but I can imagine maybe the players trying to set House Marta against House Kane. And maybe there's a way that they could do that would like sever the relationship mandate. Like if let's say House Marta unknowingly funds an attack against House Kane, that could be something where I would allow you to sever the relationship mandate, or I would sever the relationship mandate. You would be allowed to act on that information as you wish, but you would no longer, the two of you would no longer be restricted to
Mhm.
friends. You could continue to do so if you wanted, and the starting scenario is constructed as beneficial for that purpose. But who knows what'll change by then? Because your top priority, or not top priority, but one of your priorities is probably going to be getting some sources of economic power so that you're less dependent, and vice versa for House Marta. They're probably going to look for sources of military might so that they no longer have to. They might try to like buy a settlement off of you. It's like, all right, you conquered this trading post up here. Can we just buy this from you?
Yeah.
Start training troops there. Stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's really handy to know. Yeah. That's good.
Mm-hmm. All right, folks. I gotta get off so that I can, well, for a bunch of reasons, spend 20 more minutes explaining. But that was a pretty fun stream. Just chill, just playing some video games, hanging out, talking some stuff.
Yeah, it was nice to hop on.
Yeah,
Bye,
no,
everyone.
no. It was nice talking with you. I think this patron play stuff is going to go really well.
For sure.
All right.